This is the Silt versus role-playing game. A God Must Feed Part 11. We don't have Alex today, so no Jasper Finch, but that's okay because Jasper's off on his own, doing his own thing in um, a little town in the Whisper Plains, the name of which I'm forgetting at the moment, but I know it's in the Whisper Plains. Alm is the name of the town. So we'll revisit, we'll catch up with Jasper later. For now, though, we do have two other active assignments, the Sleepless Warden and the Skyward Sprawl. The Sleepless Warden, your question is, if the Warden was awakened intentionally, we've determined that it was, how can it be pacified? The opportunity is to resolve the assignment by approaching the Warden and persuading it that there is no imminent threat. You unlock that opportunity if you can answer the complexity 4 question. You have 4 clues on it right now, so you could make a reasonable stab at it if you wanted to. Right now, Theo and Pele are getting ready to attend a nighttime vigil being put on in Welkin's Vigil. We don't know exactly what's going to happen there yet, except it kind of seems like maybe Shay, the kite seller, is Pele's date to the vigil in a sense, and Theo was invited by Suleiman, the sky priest, or the temple, or the priest. What is he? A priest of something? A sky priest, yeah, of this little chapel that is a sort of omnibus chapel for multiple air and sky gods. And Sedna is at the Skyward Sprawl, and right now there are 3 different questions, all of them different ways of resolving what is basically a violent schism between zealots of the Slag King and this breakaway faith that is encouraging they worship this apartment building that is growing ever higher into the sky. And there is a floor by floor brutal trench warfare kind of battle going on between these 2 sides. And the custodians have been asked to ultimately come up with some kind of way of resolving this with the or presenting something to the adjudicator to, allow this to be resolved. Sedna's the only one there right now, and Sedna is also in the middle of having some issues with the Saint Electric because the Saint Electric has decided, in her vast and unknowable divine wisdom, to create a new saint, a new maiden caged in fire right there by the power generator that Sedna's having to deal with. Sedna also marked in order to avoid being consumed by that saint, marked wrote a verse, the verse associated with that assignment, the verse of the concrete jungle. This is something you all have to do. Each custodian recounts an episode from their childhood when a god violently warped the built environment around them. So be thinking about that. So, and I owe you a clue, Sedna. I can't remember when I have to give that to you though. I think you have to go back and report basically for fixing the generator. Surveyor Priest Monger said he would help you out in exchange. So you have to just report back at some point. Any questions about any of that before we continue? All right. And so also note that Sedna and Theo are completely maxed out on conditions, but Pele has none. So good job, Pele. Being condition free.
Pele Kessel, #1 custodian forever.
Forever. That reminds me a little bit of the you almost sounded a little bit like the custodian in Control and Alan Wake. That
Atti, yeah.
Yeah. He's a weird character.
I love Atti.
And yeah, I think we'll continue on here then. So why don't we pick up with, let's just pick straight up with Sedna. Sedna, I want to know, first of all, are you gonna narrate your verse of the concrete jungle, or do you want to go ahead and just go straight to figuring out what's going on with this new saint?
I think I can narrate my concrete jungle verse.
Go for it.
Let me just double check that I do know what this one is. This was the God violently warped the built environment around them. Okay. I think Sedna is standing and looking at this saint entrapped in this fence with all of the barbed wire and rods and stuff going through its body. for some reason she is cast back into a time when she felt trapped. And that's where the verse picks up. You being Sedna, you remember one time when you tried to leave the village of Windrip. I mean, you tried to leave many times, but this one in particular, when you were 14, no longer a child, and you recall, you go back, you are determined to make it this time. This time is the time. You go out to the edge of the town, you take a step out, 1 foot into the moat of well water that surrounds the village. 1 foot and then another. You hear the surge of water before you see it. This cascade of sludgy well water that surges up into a wall, a barrier, a standing wall blocking your way. You close your eyes, you take a deep breath, you plug your nose, and you jump in. You don't know how to swim. Where would you have learned? And you kick and flail your arms and really just make it nowhere. You don't really know which way is up, even if there is a way up. And your lungs, they're screaming at you. And that's when you are pushed back to the ground. You're panting and retching up water, the water that made it into your stomach. Your limbs are sore and you're sopping wet. Then the moat is calm. It's sparkling in the sun as if nothing had just happened. You trudge back home, or as you discover, to the debris that was your home, flooded and collapsed. And every little item and trinket you've desperately and secretly collected over the years, all destroyed. The people that lived in your home that cooked and cleaned for you are just bloated, drowned bodies. You know their deaths are a punishment for you trying to leave. And you realize you don't even remember their names. A splash of color catches your eyes, and you pick up a small red radio from the debris. It's waterlogged and kind of rusty. You don't really recall when you got this radio or where, but taking it from the wreckage does feel a little bit like rebellion. You clutch the radio and enter a new home just a few doors down. It's not quite as luxe as the last one that you were in, but it'll get you there. The occupants, they welcome you and begin to shower you with food and clothing and gifts and all the things you've come to expect of the people of Windrip. You don't learn their names either. This is just a place to stay, to prepare for your next escape attempt.
Thank you. We'll pick up with you, Boo, in a moment. I want to check in with the others first. Is there anything the two of you want to do before the vigil tonight, or do we want to go straight to the vigil?
Considering my conditions, I would really love to go to the vigil tonight.
Yeah, I'm rolling. I'm rolling. You know, support with. I'm tanking for Theo Solomon.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it. Let's. You're looking bad. You want to ride on my back? Do you need me to carry you, Theo? Is everything okay?
Not really. I
Your
want
leg.
to.
We can rig up something for you to just, like strap wise. You can just hang out on my back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have big, strong arms. You could just carry me.
All right. Pele is going to take like a you know those high tensile like transport straps that you find like on trucks and stuff. Pele will duck down and let Theo do like a cross-armed like over my shoulders, and then we'll scoop up and then we'll loop that around Theo's underside, and we'll wrap it like a crossover and then tie him and tighten it up, and we'll just walk and be like, hold on. Also,
love
if
it.
you see anything strange, just keep this on your back, and I'm going to hand over the bone and marrow hunting rifle, just to like keep strapped on your back. You've got, advantageous position.
Uh, I will note that Theo's eyes are completely dilated, like he is looking alarmed, but it's unclear what he's alarmed by. So handing him a gun may not be the smartest idea.
But is it the best idea? It may not be smart, but is it the best idea? We'll see.
When you arrive at the vigil, it's in the town square. It's nighttime. You can see that tiki torches have been set out, and that's basically the only illumination, but there's a lot. And there are a few people who have started to gather that have their own light candles lit. Well, candles is maybe not the right word. I think that their light source, their personal light sources is something more military in nature. Maybe they have heavy duty flashlights. Maybe they have flares, something like that, glow sticks. When you arrive, you see that in the center of the town square, where the plinth was, or the plinth is, where the battle saint used to be when it was a statue, or when it was decommissioned, or just inanimate, they have built what appears to be a nest around the plinth. It's a nest made of metal and wood, cast off junk, old road barriers, metal signs twisted, even like old rifles and things like that, bits of wood, old doors. It's all piled up and pressed together to take a sort of nest shape in the center of town. You're greeted by one of the locals, one of your favorite locals, Mr. Tommy Bollinger,
Oh no.
with his black bandana, his military jacket. He says, "Welcome, patriots. Really sorry about earlier today. Just a bit of a joke we were playing on you."
What was the punchline?
That's good. It's good. We're happy to have you, of course, but you've got to contribute something to the nest.
Mhm.
Of
Do you
course.
do you contribute something to the nest?
Yeah. So this is a good chance to see. I'm able to remove stuff that's like already been marked off, right? But just like completely erase it
Oh
because
yeah,
there's
yeah. You
like
can
okay,
scratch it off to
perfect.
not have it there. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Um, yeah, I think that little woolen worry doll with a needle through its face. I think Pele's just going to gently just like lay it down on the nest and pat its
Mm.
head. And it's gonna look up at Theo and
Yes.
say,
Yes. I think, yeah, because like Theo is still like tied like torso wise to your body. Like Theo is like trying to grab at like his stuff. It's very cumbersome and very awkward. And he says, and like hands you to like put down into the nest a bird nest toy that looks like it's flying, or the hatchling.
I see.
I know what
Very
this is
astute.
about.
Very astute. And is going to sit that down and pat its head as well.
Uh, since I gave, would this count as me giving an item to a side character?
Oh sure, I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay.
I just freeze framed.
Uh, this this triggers my move. Let it pass on to me.
Okay.
Uh, oh, I may clear a condition by giving a side character a helpful item and crossing it off my altar.
I love it. What are you going to clear?
I am going to clear the pain of the windmill saints because like I think like that's the most pressing awful thing that's happening to me right now.
I love it. You, by making the offering, you will not be viewed with any particular suspicion. In fact, you might find that everyone is a little bit more friendly. It's not like a celebration. It is a vigil. I wouldn't say everyone's like in high spirits. What they're standing vigil for is becoming maybe more clear, but it's still not totally clear. But no one's going to be hostile because you made the offering. And so you have some time to go about among them and do as you will before the real proper festivities begin.
Mm-hmm.
Pele, what do you do?
Are you feeling like are you like feeling up to like walking around by yourself now that that pain has been removed?
I will just note that I have like several things wrong with my legs.
You do have so many things wrong with your legs. Yeah, I think Pele is just going to move about. Pele's just going to look at Theo and say, "I'll check their persons. You check their faces." And just start like walking around and just nodding, just like solemnly, like like whenever you go to any that you just yeah.
I like that. Are we doing the information move then? Sounds like.
I think so. I think yeah. Just trying to get an assessment of people and like what they might brought with them, or that's what I'm focusing on, and maybe Theo can focus more on the people themselves. Theo's better with people than Pele.
I'm into that. Pele, you can go ahead and make the roll with insight. I think that makes sense.
Heck yeah. Let's go ahead. Ooh. Okay. Not too bad. That is a 9.
I'll give you a clue in a moment, but I will tell you that the one thing you notice is maybe the one thing you don't notice that stands out, which is you recognize everyone here. You've seen them around town. You maybe have talked to some of them. You don't see Harlan Scythe anywhere.
Oh.
He's not here at the vigil. I owe you a clue also, though. Theo, do you want to make the information move as well?
Yes, I think Theo is trying to get Pele to go a little bit closer to folks so we can just talk to them. It's this very weird, awkward thing because like Theo is like, oh yes, the vigil. Over whom do we see this as?
I think this is really weird because you're being carried around because of your injuries, and I'm gonna put you at disadvantage.
That's fair.
But it's still insight.
Oh man. I mark anything? I don't think so. Man, I do have like just Nalpa stuff in my quarters. Let's go. Disadvantage. It'll be all right. Surprisingly, not bad. That's an 8.
Okay. We'll come back to the scene in a moment. Sedna, a new maiden caged in fire. In this case, a afflicted zombie type person wrapped in a chain link fence, bursting with electricity, but nevertheless, a new living saint. What are you doing? What's happening right now?
Has Novice Timber, is that her name?
Novice Timber has escaped. Yeah.
Yeah, she's escaped? Okay, good.
Yeah.
In that case, I would like to destroy the saint.
Oh, interesting. Interesting indeed.
Be here.
I love it. This is the revelation move. How are you going to go about destroying it?
Well, I can't set it on fire because it's already on fire. I think some just good old-fashioned stabbing. I have a multi-tool on my person, and you know that multi-tools have a variety of stabby bits, such as screwdrivers and whatnot. And I think I'm just going to try and stab it into, because it's not dead. It's a living thing. So I'm going to try and stab it into where a jugular might be or where a heart might be.
I love it. That's going to be the revelation move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
The Saint Electric is going to get some revenge on me.
Yeah, I think it's actually, it's worse than that. I think that I think it could be as simple as just that this new caged maiden pulls you in Catwoman in Batman Returns style and just like electrocutes the shit out of you until you're dead. So
Oh, that's not how I want to go. I don't want to go with the Saint Electric making it happen.
this is going to be probably vitality.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think this is going to be vitality. I don't think your conditions
Fortunately, my
apply though.
vitality is 0. Oh,
Yeah.
good. So I'm using an item from my altar.
Mm.
So I'm going to roll my advantage, which is nice because vitality is 0 for me. Go, go, go. Okay, that's a 7.
Okay. Not bad. I think as a consequence, you're going to also lose that item.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, go ahead and describe how you destroy this baby saint that barely had a chance.
It has just come to life. It's just starting to gain an awareness of where it is and what it is. It's flailing its arms about, and you can see arcs of electricity and sparks flying out from it. You can see how the barbed wire around the saint is starting to heat up. It's starting to crumble. And I, not really thinking, reach into my bag and pull out the multi-tool, flip it over to whatever sharp thing I could possibly find on it, and digging my boots into the ground in case I get electrocuted, I dig the corkscrew into the neck, or what was a neck, of this creature, and it looks up at me, and its eyes are human. I could swear they're human. But then for a moment, they're just blank. Then they're human again. And I see the sparks starting to come out of it. The sparks coming out of the wound. It's not blood, it's fire, it's lava, the smell is horrifying. It smells like burning flesh and old lighters. And I step back as the whatever liquid is inside of this being drains out, and it starts to slump down, losing its spark, losing its fire, until it's just a charred mess stuck in the fence.
Fantastic. Do you head back into the battle zone?
I did get the generator running, right?
You did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go back into to go find
Back to the lobby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. First clue at the vigil. People are putting pictures of relatives who are missing in action or prisoners of war into the nest. It's interesting because putting the pictures into the nest implies a certain level of disrespect. like they're being cast off, like detritus. And you even hear, and this is your clue, you even hear one of them mutter, "We like heroes who don't get captured." That's your clue.
Okay, a little bit of Russian and Japanese imperialism thrown in there. We love to see it, Welkin's Vigil.
We do love to see it. And the other clue, let's see. Oh, let me take a look at your existing clues. I don't want to double up. Oh, okay. The other clue is another thing being added to the nest that is maybe it stands out because of the way they're treating it, but it's a massive airplane propeller. No one's really opening up about the significance of this airplane propeller or what it came from, but as it's being put into the nest, you hear some people muttering, "Good riddance." Theo, I'm going to deepen the complication that Pele got.
Oh no.
Which is to say that you actually hear in the distance, maybe like a couple blocks over, you hear Harlan yelling, "Let go of me! Let go of me!" And that's the situation. So, what are the two of you doing right now? Shay will say, I know it's silly to get caught up in these sorts of things, but I really, really hope I'm chosen for the feeding.
Oh no.
Come with me. We'll make sure it happens. And I
To Shay?
I put a hand on Shay's shoulder.
She says, but where are we going?
To get chosen for the feeding.
What do you do?
I'm going to direct her and I'm like, hold on, Theo, and I'm going to start going towards those shouts of Harlan's scythe.
Hmm. She says, but the nest is there. Like that's where I need to be for the feeding to take place. I have to drink the blood of cowards.
There's a staging area. Don't worry. Come with me.
Nice. So you're yanking Shay through the crowd toward the direction of where Harlan is.
Mm-hmm.
When you get over there, you see that Harlan has been grabbed by a couple of Fitzwelkin's boys, and he's struggling, but he's an old man and he can't really put up much of a fight. Also, he has a bum leg. And Theo, what are you doing right now? I know you're being carried around, but I'm curious nevertheless.
As like Pele is taking Shay there, and Theo by extension, as he is in backpack mode apparently. Theo is going out and say, hello, what you doing over here, trying to get the attention of these goons, these ruffians.
They stop and they say, we have to do the feeding. The patriots must feed on the blood of the unworthy cowards, like this coward right here. Is there anything more worm-like than a coward? No, there is not. And this worm is going to feed. the special little birds.
But Harlan Scythe isn't a coward.
And Welkins, who is not holding on to Harlan, he's just there. He kind of interjects himself between the two of you, between your group and their group. And he says, "This is what the Battle Saint requires. It wishes for us to understand that sacrifices must be made, but also that heroes and patriots must be rewarded, and cowards must be brought low."
But
Then why don't you go ahead?
But Harlan Scythe isn't a coward. That's the problem here.
If you're looking for a coward, you might as well shimmy your own skinny little ass up in that nest.
He says, "You know what? I've had just about enough of the two of you."
Mm-hmm.
And Shay is there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Fitz says, "I should have known that you would go in with these outsiders." And you can tell there's some tension there between the two of them. Fitz pulls out a gun.
Is that really necessary?
"I am merely standing my ground for what's right."
No. You're just a coward who thinks that that toy will save you. You do not grab into the flesh. You do not take the matters into your own hands. And like, Theo is struggling off, trying to get off of Pele because
I'll just scoop you up. I'll just scoop you up and set you down.
Okay.
After the first little wiggle, I'll be like, "Yep."
I think a shadow passes overhead while this is happening.
The Battle Saint has called to me. The Battle Saint has marked me for sacrifice. And yet I still come here because I am not afraid. However, I know how to make you afraid.
Very interesting.
We have secrets, you know. The pox martyrs. About traitors. About those who will willfully cause others suffering and decay and rot. You've brought rot to your town.
Yeah, what he said.
This might be a good time to check in on the question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How can the warden be pacified? You have 6 clues on it. Do you want to? This might be the time to. It sounds like things are reaching ahead. This might be the time to resolve the assignment. I'll let you all think about it for a bit. I'm gonna check back in with Sedna. Sedna, you're back at the lobby. Surveyor Priest Monger sees you and he says, "Excellent work with the generator."
Well, what do you have for me?
Right. And let me take a look at my list here. He says, "While I would never cast aspersions on the work of the surveyor priests of the Slag King, I am here as a wartime captain, not as a builder. But if I were here as a builder, I would object to what was done when this building went up. The sacrifices that are made in the foundation of the building, they usually come from the prison population.
Right.
But not this one. The sacrifices here. Well, they were others. And I think that is why we're having this problem. Improper sacrifices in the Foundation.
Who was in charge of deciding who the sacrifices would be?
I couldn't tell you that. But as much as I enjoy the fight, I want this war to be over. The schism must be healed.
Could you tell me where these sacrifices were put into? I know there's more than one. Where in the Foundation they're located?
Rather than going down, you should go up. I know who you really are. I know you work for Biased.
And
I'm telling you, you need to go to the other side. You need to find Mother Asbestos, find out what she knows, and put an end to this.
and if putting an end to this means putting an end to your side of this too.
People always need housing and affordable retail space. There will always be a place for the priests of the Slag King.
Of course. Well then, how do I go up? Is it more stairs?
And I think at this point, they start to outfit you in like combat gear, basically.
Oh my god.
You have a hard hat helmet. You've got a big, heavy, big heavy coat. Padded.
I think I also have this like petulant look on my face. Because I hate this outfit.
They just load you up and they're like, and they're gonna just push you toward the stairwell. You gotta go
They
up.
give me a weapon?
Sure.
Nice.
Your weapon is what would it be? A mallet and spike.
Love it.
On your way, little custodian. Into the
I'm
fray.
Die.
Fantastic. Why don't we take a 5-minute break? Give Theo and Pele and you, Sedna, or really as players, to think about this potential solution to this Sleepless Warden assignment, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Do we have an answer for the Sleepless Warden question, or do we need more time?
Yes, we most certainly do.
Very well then.
That
How can it be
helps.
How can it be pacified?
You want to hit this? Do you want to hit this chaotic, or do you want me to break it down for Jason?
I'm just gonna say something unhinged first, and then you can break it down.
Okay.
We're gonna have to fly Welkin like a kite.
Okay. I'm very curious to see how we get to that solution. Let's see how this goes. All right, let's remind everybody of the clues you have available. A tattered paperback on the Battle of Soil and Sky, featuring etchings of crawling tunnel folk and sky martyrs standing vigil on makeshift scaffolding. Sacrificial garden charms around town. A robin wrapped in thorny briars with seashells placed in its eye sockets. A circlet of barbed wire with earthworms impaled on each spike. Miniature cairns decorated with fresh flowers. The chapel itself is built on a large complex tomb. There's a tarnished plaque commemorating service under the Battle Saint Merciful Dawn 4. Pictures of relatives who were MIA or POW have been added to the nest. Quote, we don't like our heroes. We don't like heroes who get captured. And also this massive airplane propeller being put in the nest. Good riddance. Break it down for me, Wes. What's going on here?
Perfect. Oh, we're missing that plaque. The plaque one.
Yeah.
What was the plaque one?
A tarnished plaque commemorating service under the Battle Saint Merciful Dawn 4.
Yeah, I think just in general, like Welkin has been like in our faces about this entire thing, like has been very pro Battle Saint, so like he's clearly in charge of all this. But I think the reason that the Battle Saint got awoken is that Welkin has been going around and desecrating like the local temples and whatnot. Specifically, like this is why like we see the sort of like the pictures going into the nest, the propeller, which I'm assuming came from like some sort of military plane going into the nest. A very like I say, like the tarnished plaque, just to add a little bit more detail, like has been intentionally like tarnished and desecrated to like make a mess of it, as well as just like how frequently that the chapel and stuff has been coming up. I think the Battle Saint is not only tied to this idea of war, but the identity of this town, which is fundamentally these Sky Saints, instead of it being purely about war. So, like, with this sort of negative reaction to anything but war, like the Battle Saint feels threatened, effectively. So, so we have to like do these like sky rituals in order to like provide a proper sacrifice for this saint to go back to sleep. And if we do it to Welkin, that takes care of two problems.
Oh, I see. So Welkin, by basically by essentially committing heresies, caused the Battle Saint to awaken. And now that the Battle Saint is awakened, he's using it as a way to kind of propagandize the town, or to get the town
drum up some more like we need to go to wartime and everything like that. The saint has awakened. It is an omen, a sign that we need to go back to war.
But it's only awakened because he has basically like he's been like,
because he's a little pity baby that's like, I'll never amount to what my family has done. Yeah.
Interesting. So his desecrations are both the reason why the Battle Saint awakened, and are the thing that have to be, are the thing that in sacrificing him will cause the Battle Saint to be put at rest. And you think that there is a sky component to this? There's something that has to be done. Is that where the kite comes in?
Yes. Yeah. So we're thinking, because that tattered paperback on the Battle of Soil and Sky, featuring etchings of crawling tunnel folk and sky monitor staying Vigil and makeshift scaffolding, there's like been some like reconstruction happening right here. Some like making sure that the historic significance of this place is being kept up to date, being cleaned and everything. So we're thinking that if we take one of those scaffoldings around here, that can be used almost as like a signifier of like an area, like a kind of a holy area. And by taking a little bit of like taking some pointers from the sacrificial charms, we go ahead and like, take some thorny briars and put seashells in his eye sockets, and like, put like, circlets of barbed wire around his head, and like put some fresh flowers on him, and attach a kite to him, and essentially deem him a coward because he has been captured by us, foisting him. I cannot defenestrate because there's no window, but I can foist him into the air, and the cormorant will take him as sacrifice. Thus, we are maintaining the historical significance of this town. We are participating in its rituals, but I am also getting a little bit out of it by... Oh, well, I'm not responding anymore. I'm frozen.
Oh no.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting, but we're also getting a little bit of fun out of it because we're putting Fitzwelkin in his place. It
Interesting.
could undermine the assignment, hint, hint, wink, wink, but it could also fix the assignment. And, you know,
He's almost literally being hoisted on his own petard here.
exactly,
In a sense. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Huh. Okay. I'm really into this. I think it's pretty solid. It makes a lot of sense. It is a +2 on the roll. Who wants to roll it?
Perfect, perfect. Do you want to roll it? You want me to roll it?
All right, I'm roll one. You can roll one.
Okay, okay. All right. Oh, I'll roll green.
Mhm. What do you roll?
6.
6.
I rolled the 4, so that's 10 plus 2 is 12.
12. Let's take a look at the dice here because I don't quite remember what happens on a 12. Ba, 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 ba. I know something happens on a 12 though. Answer a question. On a 10 plus, it's correct and the opportunity can be pursued. On a 12 plus, it's correct, but the events are also connected to the conspiracy. Someone from the conspiracy will reveal themselves to the custodians while they're pursuing the opportunity. Well, that's really great. I love that. I think that's really interesting.
Like, if I remember correctly, like the conspiracy has shown up several times around.
Yeah, they're here. Yeah, they've been like recruiting people and stuff. I think that's really good. So you got a 10 plus, which means that the resolution will be fairly straightforward. I think the main thing you're going to have to kind of figure out as players is how the characters go about convincing the town that this is the right thing to do. Or alternatively, you're going to do this like surreptitiously, and the town just has to live with whatever you do. I think that's kind of the thing.
I don't think we're going to be able to do this surreptitiously because Theo Salmon, before we were theorizing, was about to get into a fist fight with
Well, yeah,
Fitzwelkin.
that's the thing. Yeah. So I wonder if maybe like is Shay your interlocutor here, like with the town, or like what do we think is going on? Like how are we gonna get the town like on board with this?
I think because Harlan Scythe is an outsider, right?
He is,
Yeah. I think Shay is going to. I think trying to leverage Shay by like also that speech
Sky
that
Priest
Theo
as
gave.
well.
Yeah, as a Sky Priest, it was
Yeah.
like
especially since Theo helped out the Sky Priest.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering if the Sky Priest, if Shay, if they like are the ones who are kind of help with this. Yeah.
Yeah, and just as a general nature, I don't think Pox martyrs are known to be violent.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
me getting into a fist fight, it means that something has gone horribly wrong.
I mean, I don't know if we need to role play it out completely, but I'm just curious, like, what is your basic argument with the town? Like, because the town is all fired up, right? They're all fired up. They're ready to like relive the glory days of Welkin's Vigil. This battle saint has been sent to remind them of what's really important in this world. Like, even if it was awakened by heresy, by Fitzwelkin, it's nevertheless here now. What do you tell them? Like, how are you going to get them to be like, look, this is not the deal?
I think because we harken back to the previous clues of like heroes of Oblivion never forget, and like upon our hallowed soil, though Fitz did push towards something that the town wants. Fitz did it in a way that betrays
that besmirched the legacy of the people.
The legacy
here.
of
yeah.
And so like he has made this whole place feel cheap and malleable when it is a place that is a monument built out of stone and like soil from the ground and determination. And so he tried to take the easy way out and easy way through instead of the honorable way through.
I love it. I think it's really great. Be thinking about what the sacrifice of Fitzwelkin looks like. That should be a suitably gruesome scene. And we'll check in with Sedna for now. Sedna, heading up.
Going up some more stairs.
Going up to the lower floors, which are the floors above the lobby. These were once the more inexpensive apartments of the complex. Now they are the recaptured territory of the Slag King's zealots. Fires burn in oil cans spaced along the hallways of this shanty town. There is a pervasive smell of metal, unwashed bodies, and cooking food. Grease-covered men, women, and children live out their lives in daily conflict. Let's paint the scene, everyone. What acts of extreme devotion to the Slag King contrast with scenes of daily life?
We see groups of people cooking, just cooking up dinners for their families or for others, for the community. And anytime there is a particularly delicious cut of meat, is that a phrase?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Cool, thanks.
yeah.
Particularly delicious cut of meat, or something that is harder, rarer to find, more exquisite food, more fantastical food. You see the people cooking throw it against the wall, the stone and the cement walls that are bare of paint, that just one wall that is completely bare. So that's where they throw their sacrifices in order to honor the Slag King.
We've already determined that they use bodies almost as like concrete around here, or like foundational. And I think it's even been taken a step further by decoration. If you remember like Mortal Kombat, the old Mortal Kombat movies where you could see there's like hands reaching out of like the walls and everything. I think we see like these walls as you're going up. We see bodies that have been encased in concrete, and they're in like signs of like being restrained and everything, but you just see a woman that is hanging up her wash onto a clothing, like a drying line, in between two writhing bodies in pain.
Like Han Solo, in the
Yes,
carbonite.
yeah, very much carbonite.
Yeah, I think just to go on to that further, some people are a little bit more respectful and like to have conversations with these wall beings, of just telling them, like reading them the news and whatnot to like calm the spirit of the apartment complex, because it deserves to know what's going out in the world just as much as we do, for it is alive and well.
Sedna, as you are on the lower floors, this is probably several floors worth of shanty town. A lot of people are seeing you with your heavy work jacket and your hard hat, and they occasionally like pat you on the shoulder and give you the thumbs up and thank you for your service. Thank you for fighting on the front lines against these heretics.
Oh, I shrug it off and I frown at people.
I love it. Is there anything you want to do while you're here in the lower levels before you keep going further into the more like contested zones?
I want to take a look around. Like I'm kind of trying to make my way up, so I'm not, stopping to do thorough investigation. But I want to look around to see if there's anything or anyone that seems different or out of place, because I know that the other people were worried about infiltrators from the higher floors. I just want to see if there's anything that stands out.
I love it. You can go ahead and do the information move with insight. Regular dice is fine.
That's a 7.
As you're making your way through the lower levels, the lower floors, it's interesting how life has adapted to this situation, right? Even in war zones, even in conflict zones, life finds a way to try to resemble something like normality, right? And that's kind of what's happening here. And yet, It's a very, very abnormal sort of situation. You hear whispers of liturgical speech echoing from wall-mounted speakers all throughout. Monitors and screens are flashing unrecognizable monochromatic prayer marks. The Slag King and his priests are doing everything they can to keep their people in line, to not be drawn away by promises of luxury in the higher floors, of dreams of ease. Here's your clue. The surface of some of the walls is polished concrete. And as you get closer, you can see that the very top layer of these polished concrete is translucent, and that there are black veins snaking just beneath. And indeed, you can feel these black veins pulsing if you put your hand on the concrete walls. That's your clue. I think as you are doing this, as you're sort of walking around, you come across a group of zealots that are whiling away the time by picking up and holding on to red-hot ingots of steel to prove their faith. You can smell their cooking flesh as they do this. Now, many of these zealots are grown-ass people and they can do whatever they want. But there's a little boy, probably not more than 10, 12 years old, who is being told that if he doesn't grab one of the ingots, how will the Slag King know that he's faithful? How will the Slag King know that he is ready to help execute the plans? And the little boy clearly doesn't want to do it. Who the hell would want to put their hands on char their hands on a burning steel ingot? What do you do?
Oh, I'm gonna go right up to those guys.
Yeah. And then what?
I'm gonna sort of make a show of hoisting my mallet with Spike over my shoulder just so that they can see it. I'm gonna stand with my arms crossed. If there's one thing a big, bulky, military-esque outfit will help is make you look a little bit intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say, what's going on here?
And these zealots turn and they see you and they're like, well, of course, it's a test of faith. In these trying times, we have to know who's on side, who's faithful. The Slag King has to know who's on the team, who can be trusted with the plans. And then you see that a lot of them have like scars on their hands, very, very scarred up hands. We all had to do this.
At his age? Point to the little guy.
There's a bit of hemming and hawing on that. Let's have the veiled move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you
That
fail
they're
here?
not going to be intimidated by me.
Go ahead and roll with presence. I'm going to put you at disadvantage because of overconfident and disgusted.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Oh, that's a 10.
Oh, good.
Almost a 12.
Sedna,
But
rescuer of minors in the middle of this conflict. How do you get this boy out of this situation?
I'm actually going to pull off the big glove that they gave me and hold it and stick it in my pocket, hold out my bare hand. Well, give it to me then. And I want to use my Saint Electric powers, my channel, my charge, my sacred conduit with the Saint Electric, because what is fire if not something that the Saint Electric is based on, is something that the Saint Electric
So it'll help you endure the
at its
fire.
essence. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I
And I
don't
want
need
to
you...
actually make it spark a whole bunch and make it really scary so that they're too scared to do this again.
Oh, that's very good. Because you got a 10, all I need you to do is just mark a charge. But otherwise, actually, I think you should have a second charge marked because you marked a charge last time when you first created when you were dealing with I listened to the new saint last session. I heard that last time. But in any case, you're still good there. You still got another box to go. I don't need you to roll anything though. You can just describe the scene.
Yeah, I will give it here then. And I think one of the guys nudges one of his friends and they kind of like chortle and holds it over as if like waiting for me to chicken out, holds it over my hand. And I just raise an eyebrow and, well, and the guy sort of shrugs and drops it into my hand. I immediately clench it close and hold it up like a fist. And you can smell sizzling and burning, and there's no reaction on my face. As it sizzles and burns, it starts to spark and pop, and you can see flames coming out from in between my knuckles. And it turns into a smell of copper and electricity. And when I release my hand, it's completely burned out. It's still warm to the touch, but none of the heat is left. And I'm going to drop it on the ground. I suggest you find a better way to prove your faith.
Nice. They'll disperse. And the
Look down at
boy,
kid and be like, "Get out of here, kid."
yeah, he does. And I don't think he knows enough to know that he should be thanking you, but he follows your instructions and leaves. Let's go back to Welkin's Vigil. What's going to happen here? What's going on with this with Fitz Welkins? What does the end of Fitz Welkin look like?
I think there's a moment where you see Theo says that and Pele has let go of Shay. And Fitz looks at the other two and is like, well, are you gonna let them speak up to me like that? And the other two look at each other and they go, and try to get a leg up on Pele, and Pele's just beating them. Just like you just see shadows on the brick behind of just like them be like, oh no, not the arm, and then crack, and then just other stuff. And we see Fitz try to run away, to which Theo
is on there grabbing him. Like, it's not clear of where Theo sort of popped out from because, like, he was in front of Fitz and Fitz was running away, but now on back. And Theo says, you are not leaving here. You willingly put your comrades in harm's way, but not yourself. This is the difference between you and I. You would go after old men for just being old. You would go after the weak and the wounded. But that's what a warrior is meant to do. They are meant to protect. You are no protector of this town. You are an infiltrator, and you shall be captured, and you shall be sacrificed instead.
Pele, after dislocating another shoulder, looks over at Shay and goes, "That sound good?"
And yeah, you're not going to get any. I think the town realizes the error that's been made here,
Mm-hmm.
and at a certain point, they're going to be calling for Fitz's blood. Like they realize that it was a mistake. That bringing the Battle Saint alive was was hubris, and indeed was done deceptively. I think it's fantastic. I just want to know, like, what does it look like when Fitz meets his end? What do you all do to him?
Think there is a moment of like there's the crowd, like Shay is like describing things to the crowd, and they're all just like yelling, and they're incised, like they are incited to violence. There's a bloodlust amongst them. And I just think there's a moment where like they're calling for his blood, and then there is a shrill whistle from one of the scaffoldings, and we do see Fitz Welkin has been arms splayed out, almost Christ-like, into like this crude um kite formation, and has like briars and seashells in his eye sockets, and has a crown of barbed wire encircled around his head, and has different like charms and bells and things attached. Um, and I think there's just a moment where Pele looks over at Theo, awaiting for Theo's call. And we see Theo just waiting, and then you hear the flap, 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 and Theo just nods. And Pele just 1, 2, 3, and just hoists him into the air. And it's that slow motion where you see he looks like he's flying, almost like he's just flying over. And I would like to do my crown, the verse of the concrete jungle.
Oh, do yeah.
We see Pele looking in wonder at this person soaring through the air and then beginning to plummet, hitting that crest, that zenith, and starting to plummet to the ground. And we're cut back to a younger Pele, still built, still like oddly built. Um, is wearing the pink canvas pants of Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth, and is just wearing a tank top, and is doing some guard duty, which is not just like guarding or anything, but like the guards of the followers of Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth are also expected to participate in the process of making these sweet, delectable, nutritious treats. And so we see Pele hunting for berries, scavenging for berries in a forest. Um, and Pele notices a delectable bush of huckleberries and starts pushing through, and then feels like a rip as a bramble catches onto his pants. And then he pulls the pants from the bramble, and then catches their arm in another bramble patch, and then pulls, and you can feel the ripping of flesh, and there's blood that drips from these bramble thorns, and then it starts being sucked up into the brambles. And then Pele's eyes go wide, and then you just start hearing the rustle of brambling. It sounds like children laughing. There's just this giggling, and Pele starts trying to push through, and there's just brambles just encircling and enshrouding, and it's stifling, and it's this moment of Pele just pushing through and being ripped to shreds and cut, and then just being encased in brambles, and the screen goes black, and then there's some rustling, and then there's some rustling, and then finally we see this side profile shot of like the tree line and the camp and the factory off in the distance, and then just a burst through as a covered in blood, ripped all over, just scores of bramble thorn cuts. And Pele is staggers out from the tree line and looks up at the sky and takes in a deep breath, and then breathes out, and then a deep breath, and starts laughing, and you can see tears are streaming from their face, mixing with the blood, and we just see that same look on Pele. And this moment flashes through Pele of being, as we see this person starting to plummet, and the cormorant just scoops up, fits Welkin, and goes up into the air. And then there's a moment where droplets of blood start hitting the people, the crowd below. And it's almost like a slight rainfall. And Pele just thinks, there might be more than just what's on the ground for a moment. And then looks and smiles at Theo. Just like this wild look. I'm just like, oh boy, wasn't that fun?
Shay, Harlan, some of the other townsfolk who are now kind of realizing the error of their ways, afterwards are thanking you, and maybe they didn't need to take up arms again. Those were the old times. It's okay to look back in the old times and keep them in their proper place in history. Shay is approaching you, Pele. Awkward, shy. I just wanted to ask and see if you would be interested, I don't know, maybe, and before she can finish, a shot rings out and her blood sprays all over you. People are firing on the townspeople of Welkin's Vigil. The battle saint is not there to save them. They are desperately trying to get weapons or whatever they can out of the nest, but they can't. There are military vehicles moving in and just firing indiscriminately on the people of Welkin's Vigil. A white van pulls up next to the two of you. You see people from the Institute. You recognize Dr. Ishikaro. They open up the door and they say, "Get in, quick! This is your only chance to save yourselves." What do you do?
I look down at Shay and just shake my head and then scrunch. Pele just scrunches their face, almost like a kid trying to realize that there are bad things that happen in this world, and then just lets it go and grabs Theo and starts getting into the van.
I think just because I know, Wes, that you don't want to take agency away from me. But I don't think Theo wants to leave because people are dying, and Theo is just in this state where he's just compelled to help, and like he's screaming into your ears, trying to get out. But I think you just take him away.
I think there's a moment where Pele looks like Pele will let you go, and then it's just like, no, just hold. Yeah.
We'll pick up the scene in a moment.
Ooh.
Sedna. Sedna, are you moving up further to the next level of the conflict?
Yes. I need
Very
to
well.
find out more.
Indeed, indeed. The mid-level front is a raging battle across the band of floors, a battle between the zealots below and the dreamers above. Stairwells are blocked, hallways are fortified, and tactical elevator skirmishes are common. Smoke and concrete dust fills the air as figures fight to the death. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Which once communal building facilities now serve as battlefields between the factions?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Which communal or previously communal building facilities now serve as battlefields between the factions?
There is a room. You can see into it because it's all windowed. Clearly, this used to be some sort of exercise or leisure room. There's, ellipticals, exercise bikes. Well, pieces of them are still left. You can see on one of the weightlifting machines, one of the ones that has the pulls where you can pull the weights up and down. There is a body splayed out underneath of it where the weights had come down and crushed this person's head and they were just left there.
That's gnarly. I love it.
I think to tie on to that, there is a bathhouse, a bathroom, that is just a wide open, beautiful tiled room that has since been smeared and caked with blood and other kind of excrement and everything. And the bath in the middle that was once filled with luxurious, steaming hot water is now just a place where you can see there are bodies encircled. And this is some kind of it's like a no man's land in this middle. There are like opposite ends of the room, there are doors that are heavily fortified, and you can see there are murder holes where if anybody steps into the middle of it, somebody will shoot you from either side. And there's just piles of bodies in this, like, and they almost seem like they're lazed about in the bathhouse still, like they're just splayed out and almost enjoying it. But
One of the few neutral grounds, the mailroom, the place where people put their post in days past, sort of boxes and rows for all of the apartments. Now it's dirty, it's in disuse, but it still allows for some amount of communication if those are willing to take it. But most aren't.
Sedna. Combat is happening. Little skirmishes up and down all around. You hear calling from a stairwell. Someone says, Sister Plate Glass! Sister Plate Glass! This way! This way! I'll remind you, that's the name of Novice Timber's mother. And you were asked to help convince them to get out of this. But you don't have to. But what do you do?
I think I let out a, oh, for God's sake, kind of sigh. And I head towards the stairwell where I heard that name being called. Because I probably should at least try to talk to Novice Timber's parents. Not that I think it'll do any good.
When you step into the stairwell, you see the woman who is presumably Sister Plate Glass calling up to people in the upper part of the stairwell above her. She says, No, the battle is here. This is where I'm needed. You go on. Tend to the wounded. And then she turns and you get a better look at her. She wears cloudy robes made from several shower curtains. Her face is covered by a repurposed crystal cheese platter to hide the rot. She looks at you and she says, Ugh. And she sees the way you're dressed and she goes for her weapon.
I raise up my hands. Like, I'm not a threat.
How did you get past our lines?
Sister Plate Glass.
Yes.
You're Sister Plate Glass.
I am.
What's more important to you? Your daughter or your god?
She removes the cheese platter mask to show all of the rust rot on her face. She says, I have given too much to my God to turn back now. Have you seen Timber?
She has renounced your God. She has left. She's safe. She wanted the same for you, but I assume that you won't take the same.
I'm
track.
glad for her. I'm glad she left. But I'm afraid
Why did you bring her into this?
We all got caught up in it. Caught up in dreams of ease. And, well, isn't a more comfortable and prosperous life worth fighting for? I
So you
wish
have
my
no
daughter
regrets?
well. I wish my daughter well. But wait. Shh. Listen. Listen to the walls. Do you hear it? That scratching sound. That scratching sound is a sign that we are blessed. It is our war drum causing us to march forward against the Slag King. We have discovered a new way. And we must unshackle ourselves, cast off the dogma of old. And yes, that's bigger and more important than mere familial duty.
Why is it that so many parents choose to sacrifice their relationships with their children to their gods when the gods give them nothing in return? What has your God given you?
Have you not been to the upper floors? Go to the penthouse here. Look. Look at the beauty. Look at the views. Look at the upholstery, the thick plush carpet.
That you'll never see your daughter in again. You think upholstery and carpet and views are more important than your relationship with your actual blood family? Because your God says so?
And let's have the failed move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
She's gonna call a bunch of people to come and attack me.
Sounds good. Go ahead and roll this with presence. And because of overconfident, I'm going to put you at disadvantage
Damn
again.
it. This overconfidence is really hurting me because my presence is 0. That's 4.
She says, I see what game you're playing. This is propaganda from the Slag King. You're a creature of Surveyor Priest Monger, sent here with stories of our children. My child, who in all likelihood is captured behind enemy lines, in order to persuade us to abandon our cause. Well, we will not abandon our cause. And here you can see cultists coming up from below on the stairwell and above on the stairwell. They wear robes made of drapery and rugs. They brandish fireplace pokers and rolling pins as weapons. What do you do?
mark a verse.
Very well. You're not gonna fight. You're gonna fight.
Not gonna fight. Mark a verse.
You're writing a verse. Prophecy or history?
Prophecy.
Okay, interesting. We'll come back to the scene in a moment. Dr. Caro's in the front passenger seat. The two of you are in the back. There's someone else driving the van. He says, you made the right move, getting in with us. Listen, we did everything we could to hold off the military. The military has been frightened by what's been going on in Welkin's Vigil for months. We thought we could use their patriotism for good, that we could get them to work, in concert with us. But I think the military always just wanted to put them down. They've been watching, and they got their opening when that battle saint flew away. I was trying to help the people of Welkin's Vigil. Just like you.
They were peaceful.
I have no idea who you are. Like, what is going on?
Sorry, I'm Dr. Ishikaro from the Farragut Institute. I know you very well,
What?
Mr. Solomon. You don't have anything to worry about me. I've just saved your life.
Huh?
Mr. Kessel and I go way back.
This is the gentle person that asked for me to ingest that vial inside you. Have you ingest that vial?
Every moment is an opportunity for experimentation. That's my theory.
I didn't do it though, Theo, because I knew that it wouldn't be good. It would not. I shouldn't force you to do things that you don't want to do. You're a good person. You're a friend, and I see how much you take upon yourself. You take on the burdens of others all the time selflessly, and so I thought maybe I could take this burden on myself, and so I would interact with Dr. Caro and not you.
Why are you doing random experimentations here?
Oh, well, it's
What-
not
what-
random. We just wanted to, well, we just thought if the people of Welkin's Vigil were so patriotic, why not harness that patriotism to, well, participate in some government subsidized experimental procedures.
And if it's being subsidized by the government, why were they attacked then? It's
As I said, we were trying to hold off the military from taking their preferred course of action, but we couldn't do anything once the battle saint was gone. And so now, well, our work continues. The military is not always the most agreeable partner, but they do pay the best.
it seems as though the government is going half-cocked by sending multiple agencies to the same place with different priorities.
Well, for what it's worth, no one really pays attention to bias, right? I mean, you're pretty low on the totem pole as far as these things go.
Yes, but I prefer to not get shot by effectively my higher-ups.
Well, it's more of a lateral sort of thing with the bias just slightly below, not like higher up is maybe.
Well, it's still, if it's equal or lower, I still would not get shot by.
That's- oh,
We're working for the
well,
same thing.
You didn't get shot. We're out of there. It's fine. It's perfectly
It's-
fine.
it's-
We have
Shay was
your
shot.
motorcycle is parked right up here. We're going to drop you off This is not a kidnapping.
Not kidnapping. What did
You didn't help them,
Help who?
the people.
Oh, I
Shay.
mean, who?
Listen here, I understand that you don't care about the individuals at your so supremely high level, but still, you can't be doing this half-cocked. There's paperwork at the very least.
Right.
There's a
Well,
reason we have agencies.
yes. You're right. let's just say that maybe we should have given you a little bit more intel about the situation, and maybe you should have, we should have worked together. That's really what should have happened here. It was the lack of communication that really caused this whole situation to go pear-shaped.
Kill you.
I'm sorry, come again?
Kill you. The next time I lay my eyes upon you, Dr. Ishrakaro, I am going to kill you.
The van
I will
stops.
use your blood to fertilize the soil upon which bountiful harvests will grow. I will use your bones as a drying rack for the wheat to grow and dry in the sun. Your teeth will be kept as jewelry to remind myself and others that there are people in this world that overreach. And the entire time you experience this, you will smile with the joy and jolly feelings that you are providing a nutritious breakfast for all of those across the peninsula.
Right.
And Pele's going to grab the van door and just wrench it open and then step out.
This is deeper than I initially thought. Whatever Pele promises to do to you, you would wish that you would have met Pele first than me. But I have work to do. Be thankful for that. And Theo will follow Pele out.
I think this puts the two of you in journey phase then.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna... You can split up at this point to journey to different places, or you can go to one place, stay together. Where are you both headed at this point? Skyward Sprawls, or Sleepless Warden is resolved. So
Mm-hmm. I think Pele is just like looking out towards the town of Welkin's Vigil and just looks at Theo and goes, well, shall we try to get a hold of Sedna or Jasper?
I think I probably need to get in contact with Jasper at some point, but we can travel for a ways.
I'll try and see if Sedna needs any backup and we can meet together afterwards.
So Theo's going to go to the Bowered Companion, and
Mm-hmm.
very good. Pele's going to
The Skyward
the
Sprawl.
Skyward Sprawl. Let me pull up my journey scenes document.
I think some bloodshed will be good for Pele, with clear lines.
Hasn't there been enough suffering?
Mm.
So you are both traveling to separate places, which means you are in different journey scenes, despite the fact you're both in journey phases.
Neat.
I like that.
Theo, your journey scene is the escape test subject.
Oh no.
Everyone, there's going to be a paint the scene here. The saint makes an appearance, then vanishes. How does its presence affect the landscape? How does any wildlife or nearby residents react? I'll remind you that it's a sort of mellified bee, monstrous beehive creature. Everybody will have to answer that. And I have a recall a time prompt if you are interested in it, Theo, even though there's not going to be a one-on-one scene like that. But it is, what god, angel, or saint appeared to you when you were alone? Did anyone believe you? And then I think for Pele, we're going to go back to the wire-bitten child. This is the one where they have strapped people to fiber optic poles and here's the paint the scene here for this one, everyone. The terminal installation is nearly complete. A bulbous node bristling with wires and antenna like a monstrous sea urchin mounted on a radio tower. Clusters of telephone poles stand in concentric rings, a barren grove bearing the weight of parasitic cables outward in all directions. A drone of crackling lungs and rasping throats fills the air as hundreds of undying voices praise the new signal, the unmatched speed of the wire-bitten child. How does the landscape and its inhabitants react to this vast new organism of industry? And if you need some RP inspiration for your personal ritual, the recall of time is, when did you realize after the fact that you had been used or manipulated to serve a greater scheme? 10 minutes ago? Unclear.
Yeah.
But in any case, go ahead and we're going to take let's take a little 5-minute break so we can think about these paint the scene questions and your journey scenes. You get to still do the journey move even though you're by yourself, and we'll also pick back up with Sedna as well. So let's take 5. So Sedna, instead of you being about to be jumped by Dreams of Ease cultists, instead Sister Plateglass says, how do I know my daughter is safe? How do I know you don't actually have her trapped behind enemy lines and this is some ruse?
What do you even care? She's gone. She's gone from your faith. You either can follow her and abandon your faith, or you can stay here. What does it matter if we have her or not? What does it matter if I'm part of this group or not?
All right. Let's say I believe you. I can't go without my husband. Come with me. You tell him what happened to our daughter. And then we'll go.
Very well, let's go.
And you march up the stairs to the upper
so
levels. I think we'll be good to go with Sedna for there, right there for now, for this week. Let's check into these 2 journey phases. Who's actually taking the bike and who's like hoofing it? Like Theo, are you just getting dropped off in the Whispering Plains and then walking towards Alm?
Yeah, I think I'm just walking towards Alm, because like I think Sedna still has my vehicle.
Jasper has it now.
Oh,
Jasper took it, yeah.
Jasper took it.
In any case, you're walking to Alm
Yeah.
through the Whisper Plains. Very good. Let's talk about, we've already established that the escape test subject is in this region.
Mhm.
and it's going to make an appearance. I think it'll kind of appear somewhat off screen, and we'll just know it by the way it affects the landscape, in particular wildlife or nearby residents. Who wants to start?
I think there is a crack, you know, the sound of somebody, a footstep, a footprint on a twig in an otherwise quiet wood, and all of the birds in the trees immediately take off and leave. But then a murmuration of a group of them starts to swirl around and start dive bombing into the ground for no real apparent reason that anyone can tell.
I think next, looking up from that, Theo, you might see, if you've seen the movie Men by Alex Garland, that figure of like just walking through a field, and then you just look to your right and you just see this naked, hulking figure just staring and watching you and just looking at you. And you see almost like there's just like these heaps of something gooey just sloughing off as you see bees buzzing all around this figure, and you can see them stop and slowly like landing on wildflowers nearby, and the figure just starts walking towards you.
Oh no. Thanks for that, Wes. I think it's unseasonably warm. Like, this area is supposed to be sort of foggy and whatnot, but it's like moist. Like, it's sort of like you just stepped out of a shower.
Very well. Is that? Wait, are you
Mhm.
done, Theo? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I just got too startled by this figure walking towards me.
Hmm. Theo, do you want to trigger the journey move?
Uh, yes. Uh, it's a bit weird for me because, like, I
Yeah.
cannot clear conditions this way.
You can. I think you can find a clue, though, can't you?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
find a clue.
What's your personal ritual?
Wood carving, I believe.
Oh, okay, so just give us the scene, and then the clue. Is it a clue that you define, or do I have to give it to you?
I believe I define it.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Let me just take a look. Yep, I define it. I don't think Theo sees like this person walking across the field. I think he's taken a little bit break from walking because like he's got a while to go, and well, eh, despite it's being damp in this area, at least it's warm rather than the cool, dreary stuff. It's like, oh, I'm almost on vacation almost. And there's no weird locals bothering me about like their problems, and he is just carving into wood. Just a little animal figurine. Like, I think that like it's a little bear making a little face. It's rather cute and adorable, and I think he just pockets it and is getting ready to head on further.
Tell me what clue you stumble on whenever you've got it ready.
Mhm.
I assume it's going to be for the Bowered Companion.
Yes, I think just to solidify what's been going on in the scene, that the animals are acting unusually friendly. Like they've gotten up real close to me, as though I can almost touch them if I were to reach out.
Fantastic. Go ahead and note that down. let's go over toward this terminal installation and its bulbous node bristling with wires and antenna, a monstrous sea urchin mounted on a radio tower that Pele sees as they're making their way through the land. A drone of crackling lungs and rasping throats fills the air. Hundreds of undying voices praise the new signal. The unmatched speed of the wire-bitten child. Everyone, how does the landscape and its inhabitants react to this vast new organism of industry?
There is a large group of people, locals, and they are celebrating. They're celebrating their newfound connectedness with the wire-bitten child. Knowledge is free and available to everyone. There are no limits to what an individual can accomplish. There's nothing to stop anyone, and all the naysayers are gone. They're arrested or worse, and truly they were wrong anyway, because there's no downsides to interconnecting people through digital means, and the world will never be the same. They're so excited. No downsides.
There is, with the wire-bitten child, there has become a new landmark for this part of the countryside. A payphone has been installed, and there's a line of this group of people going in one after the other and putting in their coins and sending up blessings and prayers to the Saint Electric, and then contacting other places. You can just phone call somebody. It's wild.
I think at night you can hear crying, a sort of buzzing noise across the landscape. For as much as gracious as the gifts have been brought to this land, it is built on suffering. And you can never forget that at night.
Pele, you don't necessarily, or you don't actually at all have to trigger the journey move because you have no conditions to clear. So I'm just curious what you're doing on the journey.
I think we do see Pele does stop and is sitting and having like a roadside picnic in the sidecar of the motorcycle and just looking at the people, and then just shakes their heads and then pulls out their personal ritual, which is tarot, and sets out the altar and everything, which is that wood carved figure with the marshmallow head that has teeth stuck into the wide grin, and is like laying out all of these items and pulls out a tarot deck and is like just mindlessly shuffling, and then pulls out one card, and it's temperance reversed. Pele just tosses that card and then shuffles again and then pulls out judgment, and then just swallows more guilt and tosses that, and then finally pulls one more, and it's the Hanged Man reversed, and then just just starts knocking stuff aside and like gets out of the um the sidecar and just gives out like a roar, just like just one of those good old Leo DiCaprio, Jake Gyllenhaal screams and everything, just like good old fashioned fuck yelled out, and just like kneels down. And there are people that were over by the payphone. They're like, and they're like parents moving the kids away and everything. It's like, oh, go look at the go look at the wire-bitten child. Like, oh, look, send up some blessings and everything. And Pele takes off their cap, wipes their bald head, puts the cap back on, and just picks up the things and stows them in the briefcase, and hops on the motorcycle, puts the goggles on, and just kick starts the motorcycle, and just yells at the people driving past. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? There's nothing to see here. And then just revs off and just leaves like dust and gravel in their wake.
Fantastic. I think with that, we'll go to the end of session. Let's collect rewards because an assignment was resolved. I will clip the rewards here for you all to read. Despite the stray bullet point I've just noticed in this, it is in fact, there are only 5 options, not 6.
I clipped it. I clipped it too because I was like, I didn't know if anybody was gonna know. I was like, gonna clip it and send it to you and be like, just for editing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a stray bullet point noted. But your options are a handheld wind fan, its fan blades stamped with prayer marks of both the Saint Electric and the Blessed Breeze, add to your altar. A pair of antique military surplus scout binoculars, add them to your altar. A pewter miniature of the Sleepless Warden, add it to your altar. The Chapel of the Fog Mantle becomes a place of refuge when you return. Actually, the pewter figure is 1, and then there are 6 options. The next option is the Chapel of the Fog Mantle becomes a place of refuge. When you return to it, choose 1, clear a condition, unmark an item from your altar, or discover a clue related to the weather. A memento from a forgotten war, describe it and add it to your altar, or an item from the investigation, ask another custodian to describe it, then add it to your altar. So some interesting options here. Who wants what?
I think the pewter miniature would be best for Theo. This is not the first time that I've thought of like offering something, but it's gamifying it a bit. It's a way for you to clear a condition, which is mighty nice.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
The pewter miniature is separate from the chapel.
It's separate. The chapel is the one.
Oh, the
condition.
chapel.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's the bullet point should be moved up 2 lines. Basically, is what happened there. So.
Okay, so we'll Pele.
Yeah, I will take the chapel because I was going to suggest that I take it as well. So.
And that's available to the whole group. That's just one person has to choose it. So.
Perfect.
Unless you want to help Theo out further and take the chapel option, and I
Actually,
take the first.
No, as I read it, I think whoever takes it gets the advantage of it.
Okay.
So I think it's just if you choose the Chapel of the Fog Mantle, Theo, it's just for you, which makes sense because you were talking to the Sky Priest. You had the most connection there.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll take it. Yeah. Jason was like, "No, you cannot min-max this."
Well, yeah, because that would be ridiculous if you could all do that. No, I think it only makes sense for the one person. You still have to do the journey phase to get back, but still, yeah.
I think as much as those binoculars would be pretty useful and stuff, I think Pele took a handheld wind one. Its fan blade stamped with prayer marks of both the Saint Electric and the Blessed Breeze, purely because of the thing that happened with Shay. I think if that wouldn't have happened with Shay, then I would have taken something else, but I think that is going to be the one that I take.
Sedna, you get something too, even though I don't think you were ever involved in this one.
I did not get involved at all. So I think I'll take those binoculars. That sounds useful.
Very good. Everybody make note of whatever you're getting, and then we'll answer end of session questions. You all get credit for the first one. The custodians did complete an assignment. Taking a look at the individuals. Theo, did you engage with a god, angel, etc.? Yes, you did. Sedna, you also did. And Pele, you also did. So everyone's getting the first 2. Theo, did you go out of your way to connect with the local community?
I think I tried. I wasn't sure if it got come across as like participating in like the vigil and trying like to talk to people about it and whatnot. But to be fair, my character was high the entire time. So.
I also don't know if it was out of your way. I think that's the more interesting, the more operative part there. Were you vulnerable with someone? I would say so, like letting yourself be carried around by Pele. That feels like a particular kind of vulnerability.
As well as just like generally trying to like break free of being carried around. Just like towards the end of like losing my shit.
Oh yeah. Sedna, did you struggle with your personal faith? I would say so, since you physically struggled with your personal faith against an expression of that faith. Did you undermine the orders of your superiors or use the assignment to pursue personal interests?
I mean, I didn't have to kill that saint. I wanted to.
True. Yeah. You also didn't have to save that boy or
No,
help
I just do what I
Novice
want
Timber's
right now.
family. Yeah. All right. So you get credit for that one as well. And Pele, did you undermine the orders of your superiors or use the assignment to pursue personal interests?
Yeah, I think it worked. It did not work out in the end, but at one point it was going to work out. But I think Pele was not working towards the assignment, but was taking a personal vendetta out against Vince Welkin. Which,
I'm
like,
into
I think,
it. Yeah, I think that makes because I think that makes a lot of sense. And actually, it ended up being like ultimately the wrong solution for the community,
Yeah.
even though it was the right solution for the assignment. Like,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of thematically on point. But no, that's great. Did you make a sacrifice to feed the crops?
Did I make a sacrifice to feed the crops? I think so. Yeah.
How so?
Fitzwelkin made a sacrifice with
yeah.
the blood was showering
Raining down.
the
Yeah, that's right.
people,
You even
raining down
said
the
it was
people.
raining down on the
Mhm.
on the land.
Mm.
I love it. Fantastic. Let's keep going here. Do we have any moves that are resolved in the session? I don't think we do. Sedna, you had marked a verse, but I don't know if that's something you need to do now, or you want to wait. Or
I'm gonna wait on that one.
okay. In that case, we'll go to stars and wishes. We've got a few minutes left. I'll start with stars. I loved this session. I thought this was a really cool session. It was so gnarly. The answers to the paint the scenes were excellent. The Fitz Welkin sacrifice was really, really good. Loved just lots of all the big moments were great. They all sung really well, and this story is really interesting, and these characters are really interesting, and I really feel like we're getting the Silt versus universe experience here. So I really love that. And individual stars, I really enjoyed how Pele and Theo dealt with the whole Welkin's Vigil situation. Just the answering of the question, the dealing with Fitz Welkin, the all the aftermath with Dr. Caro and the military, like all that stuff was really, really good. Just great. Like that part of the TV show would be like, people would be talking about that the next day. And I really like this scene with Sedna too. I love this Sedna gradually like kind of going all over the Skyward Sprawl, up and down and all around, and getting really, really like in the trenches, literally, with this assignment and interacting with the people. But also, more importantly, it's really interesting to see Sedna like rebelling against the gods, right? Like this is very much like Sedna's like, saying, I just love this like kind of crying into the void of like, this is all madness. Like, why are we doing this? Like, this is utter madness. And yet there's always those moments when you do rely on the power of the Saint Electric to help you, So I think that conflict is really, really good. And I'm really enjoying watching it play out, and we're learning so much about this character through this like quite intense strife. So yeah, I just really love that. And I think it's all going great. Just super, super into it. Wishes, excited to have Jasper Finch back, of course, and excited to have the characters in different configurations and together. So I think that'll be fun. Really kind of curious to see where we're going to put Pele in particular in the Skyward Sprawl, like how Pele is going to be introduced into that. I think we have a lot to look forward to. We'll probably I assume we're going to get Skyward Sprawl and Bowered Companion resolved next time, and so it'll probably be our penultimate session or penultimate session for the campaign arc. So just feeling good about it.
Yeah, I'll go. Big shout out, big ups, big star to Jason for that incorporating the conspiracy into that ending of the assignment and everything. It really I love in media, just in all forms, when something that you believe is supposed to be the right way to do something, and you work, and it's like it's the harder thing to do. It's the harder path to do. And there's that moment of like, we did it, there's success, there's that little light, and it gets stamped out by something greater. And it's actually, in fact, incorrect. And I love those choices in video games where it's like you always think that like the right decision is going to help you out in the end, and it ends up biting you in the ass somehow. And I think that was a very big, bold choice, and it was a great way to kind of bookmark the climax of the session with. Amanda, I love that we're getting this Sedna like solo plot because we get to see a bit more of her, and like we get we're paying off all of these things that you set up in those first few sessions where it was all of us together. And like all these kind of thoughts and feelings that Sedna has about the world at large and about like theology and things, and we're seeing it not only like we're not only seeing it like splayed out in front of us, but we're seeing Sedna herself be challenged by it. We're seeing a direct like effect of people holding these things up to her face and being like, "Are you going to tell us that this is wrong?" And her pointing and saying, "Look at your walls. Look at what's happening here. Of course it's wrong." And these people being like, "This is the only thing that we know. You're going to take this." Like it's been very cool seeing how creative you are as Sedna, coming up with ways that doesn't just involve getting mixed in with the fighting and everything. Like Sedna is a problem solver, and like is like doesn't need others or divine help to do things, is very much like a go-getter. And like there might be some divine
Until she
help
does, but
until
yeah.
she does. But I think that makes her interesting because in her own brain, I feel like Sedna could like endorse those use of divine intervention as being like, well, I'm the one that's sacrificing for it. So what really divine intervention is it? It's my own sacrifice that is making it happen. I think that's very cool. She's a very interesting character. Um, Chaotic. I love Dark Theo. I love this little twink that's been, or not little twink, but it's a very tall, gaunt twink that's been pushed it's like you've pushed me to the last point. It's like the nerd is finally, it's the toxic avenger. You are essentially a skinny toxic avenger where you're like, look here, motherfucker. Like you think that big glug is bad? Just wait until you meet me. I'll give you boils under your fingernails, bitch. And like just like awful medical things. And I'm like in the back, I'm like a show mom. I am a pageant mom. It's just like, you get them, sweetie. That's yes, amen. And it's so great to see.
You're doing great, sweetie.
You're doing great, sweetie. I'll go make snacks, which I can do that as a move. So I can make Rice Krispie treats. But I'm feeling great. I always like playing this game. It's a good way to get my Sunday started with some just gory, gruesome imagery. Great way to get anybody going. And my wishes is I don't know. I just hope that Pele doesn't make things worse for Sedna. I think it'll be interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing like a Sedna Pele scenes and everything, and Pele just being like, "How can I help? Direct me." And then Sedna, I don't know how Sedna's gonna act, but I can imagine it's gonna be like, "Just stand over there, get out of my way." And Pele's like, "Does this help? Like break somebody's arm? Am I helping?" It's so I think that'll be really interesting.
Yeah, I gotta give a star for Sedna for just immediately after creating her saint, killing their saint. Just like I'm like, okay, I guess. This is how Sedna thinks gods are, and I'm just in love. I'm in love that she's just going through this war zone as this battle goth effectively. Like with platform boots and all, and just even more stuff on her, and just like going.
Sedna with a yellow hard hat is the funniest image ever.
Keep in mind that she also like has. I think she has like a windbreaker visor sort of situation. So it's just the silliest thing ever. Uh, yeah, a star for Pele for creating backpack of Theo. It's just like just the weirdest investigation scenes I've ever seen of just like, all right, I'm looking at their bodies. You go talk to people because you're better talking than me. And despite Theo being like having no idea what's going on anymore, just like zonked out his gourd. And then just I just love how just anxious he got and just was like, I am going to kill people this session. I'm just like, Fitzwelcome, you're gonna die. I was certain of that. Dr. Ishikawa is just like, I don't like you. You caused the military to show up. Why? We were doing well. We fixed things. Like, why?
In Dr. Caro's defense, they were also trying to hold off the military. They were trying to co-opt what the military was scared of in order to but they were not doing it to save the people of Welkin's Vigil. They were doing it to just take advantage of the situation. But yeah.
So I just love how just generally like Theo was this session. I just love the role playing with you, Jason, of just like all these people who are not great. I just love it. I'm looking forward to finally having a proper scene with Jasper, and just like I just literally like Jasper's just talking to monologuing to himself, and then just Theo's there and just like, hey, what's up?
Jasper's been straight monologuing for 2 whole sessions.
Yeah.
Been on the same little patch of road.
He probably doesn't even know we're not there. It doesn't even occur to him.
Just a quick housekeeping question. Do I remove marked by the battle saint since we did resolve that?
Oh yeah, you can definitely remove that. Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that anymore. Fantastic. More stars and wishes.
Yeah. Wes, your verses, you just the one today, but that was awesome. It was very creepy. We were saying how it was very midsummer vibes. That was fantastic. I felt like I was there and I didn't want to be. I also really liked your description of Fitz going flying when you made him into a kite. That was lovely.
That whole scene was super
The whole scene.
Wicker Man, Midsummer vibes, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
It was Fitz Welkin in the bear costume, being burned in the
Absolutely.
TV.
Yeah, it was great. It was very awesome. Chaotic Theo as a backpack and all the things that you were reacting and how you were reacting as a backpack, highly entertaining. Very much liked that. I also liked Theo like at his last straw where he's just about to like just snap and lose it. And it's fun to see Theo on that side of how pressure is hitting him. And I'm excited to see more of that. This dark Theo. Both Wes and Chaotic, the whole plan for Fitz Wilkins was batshit. Like I wasn't involved in theorizing. I took off to go do something, and I came back and they had the theory all worked out, and it was batshit and awesome, and like 10 out of 10, no notes, just perfect, just great. Jason, you pulling that attack after the solution of the Sleepless Warden, pulling the attack on the town. I didn't expect that. That was awesome. What a wonderful way to pull in the
12
final
plus, yeah.
conspiracy. Yeah, it was perfect because it's going to lead into we're going into the conspiracy right now, right? So I thought that was very cleverly done. I also know that with Sedna kind of doing all this stuff by herself right now, I know I can just pull anything at you with Sedna being weird and hypocritical, and you'll just roll with it. So that's always a lot of fun. We're like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill this saint or whatever, and you'll always one up it, which is the best way, the best thing you want for anybody you play with. You want somebody to take the thing and make it better, and I can always rely on you for that. So yeah, just a lot of fun. My wish is I want to see the Pele and Sedna show. I want to see what this is going to be like. I have no idea what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited about that too. I really am like very leading up to the confrontation with the Institute is going to be so fascinating because I think Dr. Caro thought he was doing the right thing just then and helping you both out. And I think he's so blinkered that he doesn't realize like the trouble that the Institute's causing, right? I think the Institute genuinely thinks that like they're doing good in the world, but also, you know, making money at the same time. Like who could object to such a you know to such activity? And so it's interesting that that whole like dynamic is going to be really fascinating to see how it plays out.
It reminds me a lot of the Institute in I think it's the Institute in Fallout 4. With the replacing of individuals with like with androids and things of that nature, and being like, we're bringing back your loved ones is what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, because from Dr. Caro's point of view, you all are like, you know, you're all individually kind of upset about all these things we have to do to appease the gods, and like, you know, and the gods are such a, you know, like there's so this unknowable, horrifying thing. And from their point of view, they're cutting the gods out of the equation and they're going straight to making saints. You know, they're like we're making saints without the gods. So like, why would you object to this? Now, the bigger question is, why do we need these saints? Well, you know, that's a whole other thing. But I think that like in a weird, twisted way, like the Institute is almost like the kind of like dark mirror version of you all, right? Like they're kind of they have their own position about like the role of gods in our lives, and they just happen to, you know, be very mercilessly capitalistic, and you know, there's that little slight wrinkle, but in any case, I think it's fascinating. It's a really fascinating story. I think that's all I've got, so I'm going to wave goodbye to folks watching the video.